All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the Thursday Night Football Showdown show. Kicking off a new week here. We got the Commanders at the Eagles, got Hoop, got Title Crown here with me. Coming off a big night, you know I'm bringing him in first. The Title, what's going on, man? Congrats. NBA Shipper, the big $5, which if you saw, I know you follow the stuff on X. Forget the blue sky stuff for a second, but the X stuff, where you saw them change the structure too, right? Even in the chop, you won more than what the original prize was, so you got to love to see that. And our guy, Hebrew Cheetah, right behind you. Guys don't just talk about it. You be about it. Was loving to see that after the show. Congrats, man. What's going on?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Always feels nice when DraftKings and you run good on the upgraded payout structure if you take first and bink it.
Yeah.
Shout out my man, Hebrew Cheetah. Nobody works harder in the industry with NBA, grinding constantly, so much in depth in the slate plan. You talk through the slate, and we talk like an hour 10 pretty much every Wednesday. I legit might talk 15 minutes. Real numbers, defense, pick and roll stuff, just absolute money there. Shout out to you, Rio. Yeah, he was climbing up. It definitely took some run good like it always does. It also took, these refs were absolutely tilting me. 2 missed free throws at the end. I was needed OT or I needed Prince. Anyone late night sweating, saw multiple people in Discord. Shout out to y'all. It was a crazy ending. Definitely rocking my Bucks right now. Giannis put the team on his back, but I appreciate it, guys. It feels good.
Gotta love to see that too when it's your boy Giannis that gets the job done for you as well. So incredible stuff. Hoopster, what's going on, man? Bring you in another. This is by the way, I'll say it off the top. Love this slate. It's exciting, and not just because it's Devonta Smith's birthday, as everybody knows. But Hoop, I'll bring you in, man. What's going on? Big announcement today too. I got everything up and ready whenever you're ready to go through things.
Yeah, so big announcement that we'll get to here coming up pretty soon. But first off, definitely got to congratulate my guy Title. Again, I tweeted it out and I said very humble guy, and definitely is the case. Like, he doesn't talk much about his wins, but he grinds every day, works harder than just about anyone in the industry. So you love seeing guys like that get to the top, and got to the top last night. So excited for him. And again, him giving the shout out to Rio is big too. I mean, Rio runs our NBA product here, not the most known guy in the industry, but people are starting to take notice because he knows his NBA like no one else. I mean, he knows more than just about anyone. Talking 3-4 days a week on our YouTube show, breaking down these slates, knows the intricacies of the, pick and roll stuff. Like, he dives deep into this, and I know he's grinding all throughout the night on NBA. So does a hell of a job with our product. So, congratulations to him, obviously, on, building up this NBA product, and then obviously Title getting to the finish line last night. So definitely excited to see that. And part of the announcement kind of relates to that as well. So we'll get to that in a few, but good game tonight, solid total, 2 offenses that have had a lot of success this season. A lot of different ways to go from a fantasy perspective, and not much on the injury front. I think, like, for the first time in a while, it's pretty clean. Like, there's nobody listed as questionable, maybe. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but it looks pretty clean. So you know what that means. We're probably going to get some surprise at inactive. So looking forward to diving into it with you guys here today.
Yeah, we got to go through it all, but we'll bring up a few things and go through it. But just the setup, like you said, is there's revenge games, there's birthday narratives, there's good options, there's good matchups, there's good plays. It's a Jalen Hurts slate. Everyone always loves him up top. It's still pretty affordable, just 16.5. So we'll go through captain and all that more in a second. I'm going to very quickly just bring up share screen. I got one thing, just going to show it off. As we know from the previous shows, we talked to you guys. I got you today. I found the perfect solution. The stone is updated and ready for members, but I didn't refresh it. I saved it on the shell. So when you guys get us to 150 likes, we'll bring up the stone for real, and we'll talk through it off of here to make sure we go through it for you guys. I do want to let you know just real quick too, because it's over half full now, but we got to fill up this listener league for SHIPIT Nation. So the big guy by SHIPIT Nation, just go over to X at ToeTagginTambo. You can find the link there. I think there's about 800 people of the 1,500 max right now. It's completely rake free. $5 5 max. You can check it out. Oh, wrong tab. I meant to go back to the stone there. That's Devontae Smith's birthday, in case anyone was wondering, on Wikipedia. So got the tabs up. We're good. But let's talk about this here, Title. I'll kick it to you first. Grand scheme overview for this slate, just sort of the game itself, and then from a DFS perspective as well, what everybody's here for.
First of all, shout out Devontae Smith for his birthday, but more importantly, shout out Joanne, turned 65 today. Always in here supporting multiple shows.
Joanne.
Happy birthday, Joanne. Happy birthday.
Feel a little shipper for you tonight. But grand scheme overview, man, another great Thursday night football game. 49.5 total, divisional battle, two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, two guys talking DFS-wise, similar to Josh Allen slates. We always talk about him like he's going to be popular. Both of these quarterbacks, especially Hurts, will be popular, but you can play him in a variety of different ways. Hurts has had 3 tush pushes before. Don't need others to come along with them pass catching wise. Jaden Daniels obviously has his legs as well, but if I am playing them, more times than not, I am pairing at least one pass catcher. And I like the idea of going multiple of them, like 3 of them, etc. We'll dive in there. But ownership wise, captain, 2 running quarterbacks. Of course, everyone with Hurts is tush push upside. You can play him though, because there's ways to get different. I think how you're going, we'll get there. But other than that, there's plenty of leverage spots. Like AJ Brown showing a lot lower ownership than I thought at captain because of his price. He's expensive. He can obviously get there. Both Commanders running backs, very expensive. It's like Brian Robinson was going to be out or Eckler was going to be out. Both these guys in the 8Ks, definitely a max 1 rule for me. You're overspending for them, but they leverage off of Daniels. If Brian Robinson gets in the box twice, etc. that way, Devontae Smith. And if you want to save some money, I think there is some more valuable or some viable, cheaper captains like a Noah Brown, a Goddard, who at least will be on the field a lot and can go 7 for 70 in a touchdown, but they will be a lot lower owned because people are going to want one of these studs up top.
Yeah, love that breakdown, and we'll spend a little bit more time on it here shortly. But Hoop, I'll kick it to you. Same question, just sort of how do you see the game playing out, and then any quick thoughts from a grand scheme overview on the DFS side of things and setting it up for how the slate's going to play out for you.
The one thing that definitely stands out to me is I think we've talked about these spots throughout the year, and we had the Ravens versus the Broncos, and all right, this is going to spot a good spot where the Ravens are just going to punch them in the mouth. I think this could be similar setup, maybe not to that degree, but where the Eagles just beat the shit out of the Commanders here tonight and say, we're rolling now. This is our division. They've won I think 5 in a row. I think it's a really good spot for the Eagles to get a pretty big win here. They're favored by 4. I think we could see the Eagles just run away with this one. So I'm going to be building teams to kind of accommodate that sort of game script today. I think Eagles win. I think the Eagles put up a lot of points. You look at the Commanders recently, and yes, they've had some wins, but they haven't really beaten anyone. They beat Giants, one of the worst teams in football. They beat the Bears, one of the worst teams in football. They beat the Panthers, one of the worst teams in football. They beat the Browns. They don't have any signature wins this year. They haven't really beaten anyone. Really like the spot for the Eagles tonight. So that's one thing, and I will be building teams like that. So for me, it's going to be an Eagles heavy approach in the captain spot. Hurts, Barkley, AJ Brown, and yes, the birthday boy Devonta Smith, who I do like. It could be a situation where I only play maybe Jaden Daniels up top, and I'm not even set on that. I just love the spot for the Eagles tonight, so I'll be going Eagles heavy in captain and flex as well.
Yeah, you know how they do get a signature win though?
Beat the Eagles tonight?
Correct. because the line is interesting. Title, you look at this stuff, so I'll throw that to you. But minus 3.5 went to 4, I think, in some places. So maybe it's trickling up, and people that like Hoop are like, you know what? Don't agree with that. I'm going to just slam that because it's only 3.5 points or whatever. Now it's up to 4. Do you have any thoughts on that at all? Why it wouldn't be more? The thing is, even shout out to our guy Shaloub. I know he's ready to go tonight. Has been ready since. He's ready every slate, but the other night for this night specifically. But I'm a Ravens fan. They got no defense. Here's the difference. The Eagles, very good defense. So I don't think that's as comparable either. The Browns beat the Ravens. The Ravens are beatable because of that stuff. But do you have any thought on that, Title? Just why it's seemingly closer on paper than it should be?
Eye test wise, the Eagles really haven't impressed me too much this year. They won 34-6 last week, but it was 14-6 at halftime in that game. It feels like a lot of it is just like if you can stop the run, which you're looking at the stone, it doesn't look too great. Hurts pretty much just has one read to A.J. Brown on the outside. If that's covered, he has one other read. Otherwise, it's toast after that. So they just, again, this is total eye test wise. Eagles just haven't impressed me too much. They keep getting the job done. They find ways to win for sure. And Commanders, it is a good Eagles defense, but man, Daniels is, I think getting Brian Robinson back is very important because this doesn't have to be all Eckler. They can establish it early on the ground, mix in more play action. I do think Daniels getting healthier. We can see him use his legs more. And I think this Commanders offense is really good. They went through that stretch where they didn't punt much. I think both teams are going to put up points. I think 4 is very fair in this spot. Honestly, if I had to bet, I would lean the other side. But with Hoop being so confident, Eagles, I'm not putting my money anywhere on this. Here's
the bet. Opposite of our friend Johnny, who I always appreciate Johnny in here supporting and doing it. But I think, this is what's going to confuse people. And Degenerate 75 and myself on the first look, we look at this for some of these games as well. And this much is up on the stone. The pace for both sides, it's the same when you kind of have like a D versus like two really slow paced teams, but they have playmakers that can make it pick up. Both these teams have playmakers that could pick it up, but I don't know why the Commanders wouldn't just try and run the ball all day long and keep Jalen Hurts and co-op field. Will it work? We don't know, but those paces can flip in a heartbeat if they get rolling on slowing the game down, or there's it's a showdown slate. I'm sure we'll get at least 5 field goals. So you got to remember those in there too. But I think the total is pushing 50 and it's probably going to cut it close. It usually does. They're pretty good, I heard, at picking those numbers and getting them right. But I could see it leaning to the underside tonight just because everybody thinks it's going to be a full smash spot, right? So what's this one? What do we got from Bill?
And I totally agree. The Eagles haven't really beat anyone all that impressive either recently. So I totally get that side of the argument. I'm kind of banking on the fact the Eagles at full strength now. Goddard's back. They have their wide receivers, Saquon, like everything's falling into place for them. They've won, I think, 4 or 5 games in a row. But yeah, I agree. Like I shit on the Commanders for not really beating anyone recently. The Eagles haven't either. So, I mean, that's definitely a solid argument on the other side of the initial argument that I made.
But the Eagles got Cleveland and Cleveland got Baltimore and Baltimore couldn't get Washington. So really, Billy, when you put it all together, and also don't bring up the Saints like they ain't something. Like, did you know they have MVS, superstar, amazing football catcher out there, can catch all the balls and just get all the touchdowns. So you got to remember there's like Title says, there's levels to it. So, all right, let's look at these levels of captain here, Title. I know you hit on it a little bit already, but do you want to just break it down a little bit further? I thought Hoop said it best, but I mean, it could be a spot where I think a lot of people feel comfortable just going Jaden Daniels on the other side, but you brought up some of the other guys from the Commanders. I think on the Eagles side, we kind of know what it is, but you can go more in depth on how you're handling it as well.
Yeah, so again, you should definitely have the stone if you remember. If you refresh, everything is, you can see ownership, you can see all that. We have nobody above 20% at captain. Hurts about 20, which I think is totally accurate. I do think Hurts is the highest. But again, it's not like 35, 40% Hurts. The thing about Jalen Hurts, though, all of it pretty much comes down to how many times are they going to fall at the 1 yard line and they're going to tush push and him get in that way. Like 2, 1, 3, 2 rushing touchdowns the last 4 games. That is absolutely insanity. And it doesn't feel like there's only a couple games, but it doesn't feel like Hurts is using his legs in the pocket as much as he was 2 years ago, where he's fine just running horizontal, throwing the ball away and living to fight another down for the most part. So if he doesn't get there as the highest owned captain, who probably does? It's probably Saquon, because Hurts isn't falling at the 1, or it's A.J. Brown, or it's Devontae Smith, because they're longer touchdowns through the air. And that's how I'm going to attack a lot of it. And to be honest, I do like Devontae Smith. I'll play some, but it's clearly A.J. Brown and Saquon as my 2 favorites on that side. I don't think I'm going to get to Goddard because I prefer Noah Brown. He would be like a mid-tier captain, of upside. You and Nates have won plenty of cheese, Dallas Goedert captain in the past. But I think I want to keep I'm going to be playing Hurts and Daniels. Do I love them? No. Could I be underweight? Maybe like 10%. But I know I'm playing those 2. I know I'm playing Saquon. I know I'm playing A.J. Brown. I know I'm playing Devontae. And then from there, it's like, man, that's already a lot more captains, or at least I'm at the verge where I really want to. Brian Robinson, Eckler, I think I'm just going to primarily use them in the flex because of their price tags. They really got to do something. You're talking about leverage, though. Commanders win this game. Brian Robinson rushes in 2. Like, that's how you get a solo shipper today. So the more teams you have, I don't mind it. Me, that's going to probably play 40-50. I think I'm going to go A.J. Brown, my favorite. Saquon, my second. I'm playing both quarterbacks, but then I think I'm going to go the scary Terry, who's you're overspending, which is why his ownership's a lot more a captain. If they win this game where they are trailing and have to drop back a lot, why can't Scary go 130-2 and break the slate there? So I'm definitely playing him. Then Noah Brown's my the cheapest captain I'll go, and the low-ish owned I'll go. And he's running 90% of snaps. He clearly has the wide receiver 2 role as a 4-point dog. They should be, if they are trailing, throwing more, big total. I've talked about Noah Brown a lot these past couple of weeks, so he's the cheapest I'll go at captain.
Yeah, Hoop, any other thoughts you want to add? I mean, you already kind of hit on yours, but any further thoughts you have besides what you already said?
Yeah, I'm just kind of struggling to find Commanders guys that I want to play up top. I feel good about the Eagles guys, Goddard fringe potential. The one thing is just going through, there's not a ton of really solid value, as you guys see when we're going to talk through the show. There's not standout, stable value plays. So salary will dry up pretty quick. We don't need to pull this up, but I ran 150 on the Shiptimizer and got 7. Okay, you got it too. And I don't know if we have the same settings, but if you go to all, I just want to see the flex. So I had 67% Luke McCaffrey, because he's the only guy that's showing up as a decent value. And yeah, you got 53. That's too big of a number. That's where I definitely go in and set a cap on that. And then what you're going to see if you go back to captain, Hurts is going to come down, Barkley's going to come down, Jaden Daniels and A.J. Brown will all come down because we're capping what is looking like the only decent value. So that is one thing to keep in mind. I haven't built my teams yet, but I might have to bring in a guy like Goddard just to make everything work. So that's one note. On the Commanders side, maybe I'll play Jaden Daniels up top. Maybe Terry McLaurin, but that would be it. I'm not going with any of these other guys in terms of captain for the Commanders. I'm just going to really play into the Eagles, beat the shit out of the Commanders game script. I'm going to be kind of all in on that. Again, Terry McLaurin could get there in that game script. Jaden Daniels could get there in that game script, trailing sort of game script. But in terms of the captain stuff, I'm just way more interested in all those Eagles guys, the main dudes, Hurts, Saquon, AJ, Devonta Smith, and then potentially Dallas Goedert if I need some cheaper captains to kind of make it all work.
Yeah, Nades is echoing what you said. Value's horrible.
Yeah,
Luke McCaffrey and that. This is the best slate of the year, and everyone's going to hate this, and I don't care. The benefit is I don't care. I just move on to the next slate. I always say it like it is. I think not playing Brian Robinson at captain tonight is a mistake. I think there's a definite potential. Again, if you're all in on a script, I'm with it. I love that. You should commit to your script, and that's how you play. But how do they win the game? To me, it's Brian Robinson gets, however he gets there, a touchdown or two in keeping them off the field. I might play 0 Hurts tonight. I was going to at first say, just let me play 10% and go underweight. There's $500,000 up top tonight. I think you can play Barkley, Brown, Smith, Goddard, Ertz, Brown, McLaurin, Robinson, and Daniels. And I'm not going to play all those. I'm just saying I think you could play all those in telling yourself a story here. The line is fishy a little bit. Like I said, I don't just go by that, but it's just another nice thing. But it's all what you do in DFS. The slate, I let the slate do the talking. When a dry run gives me 42% Hurts, it makes me believe that 19 or 20% is going to be legit. So I'm okay with that. And if it gets there, it gets there. And everyone, what'd you do? You played the best captain on the slate and won. Good job. I really, for me, I never care about that. I'm going to play. I might play 0% Hurts tonight, and everybody at SHIPIT Nation will know it's not like it's a secret or I'm holding it back. So I'm going to decide. But I just don't think it's worth me to play 10%. I'm all in or I'm against it. Title. Maybe you could talk me in or out of it, but I think I want to play to win tonight, man. I really love this slate to win. And if there's no value and all those other things I said, why wouldn't I just go the other route and just hope that somebody does enough to beat Hurts? There's a bunch of options.
I definitely get it. The one counterpoint is if you're playing as many lineups as you do and you trust yourself to build better lineups than those Hurts, just say he's 20%, you have 10, but you think 13% is actually real, you're not too under it. Again, I think you can build solo shippers with Hurts today because of the tush push out or the pass catching out. He can get to the top in different ways. So, I'm never going to, a big stand, I'll never try and talk you off, but you did ask me to. So that's my counterpoint to it.
And I actually agree with you because I make that point all the time. So it's kind of like we're using our own stuff together and putting our minds on it. But it's honestly, I almost just don't care tonight. I really think it's the slate to play to ship and win it all. And I'm not going to even, it's not like I'm going to get a guaranteed unique that I'm going to have 150 unique lineups. I'm saying I know how much that can leverage me up. And I am going to be careful about, again, I mentioned all these other options. I'm not going to necessarily play all those commanders. I'm saying, but I think there's going to be some other options for me to go to there. And when I just know that Hurts is going to come in at 20% plus, based on the numbers at least, or I feel like he is, I'm very comfortable just getting my overweight stances in other places. So I don't know, Hoop. First off, Hoop, forget your points because they're going to be good, but people just let you go away again. Where the hell did you go? We have an announcement that we might want to just give one away. We should tie it together and start that right now. Let us know, because we're going to present this soon. Maybe you want to do it now, but we're going to give away something to somebody who the best response to where Hoop goes when he turns his camera off and we're not allowed to see what he's doing. What's happening over there?
Okay, I will be, so we can play the game and then we'll give the honest answer after. And if you know me, shouldn't be all that surprising. I'll just say that, all right? But I am curious to get the responses. Whenever you're ready for the real answer, just let me know and I'll give the chat the real answer, okay?
Yeah,
I already know the real answer.
Title definitely probably does, and so do you, Tambo, if you think about it. But in regards to the mows the lawn, that would be good.
I was trying to quickly bring this up. If in case people get misconstrued here, I'm talking captain. I'm definitely playing, especially even more so in the flex. You're playing him in the flex. It's when there's no value. I'm saying I don't love the values that you're forcing to make him work. And like Title said, there's definitely ways you can find it. I just don't feel tonight like committing 10% or 13% of my lineups to it for no reason. Like for me, that's all.
You're a big god.
not a smoker. And that's another thing. That's another thing. If you know me, you know I'm not a smoker. Just when I'm with G Rising. G Rising brings out the best of Hoop. Just when I'm with G Rising. And it's not vape. If you know G Rising, he doesn't do the vape stuff. He does the real deal. In regards to the hurt stuff, the toughest fades on these showdown slates are definitely running quarterbacks and high volume wide receivers. Like those are very difficult fades because they have so many paths to get there. Like the Derrick Henrys that are somewhat game script dependent, better when they're playing with the lead, like ain't going to be popular. Those are the fades I like a little bit better. For me in my head, it would be like a preventative thing where I would just want to get a little because like it will kill you if you get everything else right on the slate. You get everything else right on the slate and the Eagles get stopped at the 1 yard line twice and his ass just goes in and doesn't have to do any of the work, but you get everything else right on the slate. Again, you do whatever you want, stick with it. That would be my argument against it, but you gotta take your stands in this stuff. You can't just play everyone with the field and expect to have success. So if that's your stand tonight, roll with it. Yeah.
Like you said, you got yours and I agree with it. And I actually think yours is fine. And it's usually right. You don't get this spot too often is how I would put it. Like tonight is an awesome spot to try and pull this move. If it doesn't work, you have to know that going in. So don't spend money on this move and be mad when Hurts runs in 2 from the 1 yard line and throws for 1 and rushes for 60. I won't care. I'll wake up tomorrow and do the same thing I do every single day and be fine with it. I love the spot. I love the slate for that reason. So I'm going to commit to it. And yeah, I'm going to play 0 Hurts tonight. I'm just saying it on here. It's going in the slate plan. I'm not playing Hurts at captain tonight. And I don't care. Like I'll move on from there. So we can move on to Hoop. What is it? Let's do the announcement now. I'll bring it all up if you want to talk through it quick and we can show them off what we're doing for the rest of the season, all that stuff. And then we'll get some of these answers and laugh through them.
This is a good one. Off screen to whip Nate Silver's candy ass. I don't care what side you're on politically. Like if you actually pay for a model that projects the election, like just take the money and flush it down the fucking toilet, especially this guy's like unreal, just a bad product, ripping people off. He's a joke. Do you have the graphic ready to roll?
I do. I got 2 graphics. Which one do you want to start? I got a graphic and the site. Where do you want to start? NFL or all access?
Start with the graphic. Okay. So yeah, what we're going to roll out today for anyone kind of sitting on the sidelines, code NBA50 in honor of the big win last night for our NBA team. Gets you 50% off your first payment, all access over here at Shiptimizer or at SHIPIT Nation. The Shiptimizer is optional, as you can see on the bottom, but this will get you all access to everything we offer: NBA, NFL, PGA, We have UFC, 309 this weekend. Title and Marley will have all their content up. So that gets you access to everything. Punch in that code, 50% off your first payment. And again, we already have the most affordable rates in the industry. This will give you an opportunity to test it out for 50% off.
Yeah, so just quick on the numbers in case people aren't following. It's right here. You can't miss it when you go to the page. Join the nation. $50 for a month, including SHIPIT, which you'll be able to use for NFL, NFL Showdown, PGA if you're playing the Showdown streets over the weekend, and the rest of the events for the month, NBA, which obviously we just talked about and the reason for the promo, and MMA, the big one this weekend. So all four of those, $50 plus all the content across the site, like college football, NHL, everything you want to check out, the education courses that you want to check out, all of that, you can do that, or $35, less than $35 for the month, which is less than our football only packages cost or anything. So there is a big value to that. Go ahead, Hoop.
Yeah, not just for NBA. We just used the code NBA50, and again, in honor of Title's big hit last night, but it is for the all-access package on our site. So the code is NBA50, but you get access to all the sports that we offer that Tambo just walked through.
Yeah, it's first month only, and that includes that. And if you want just football, this is a football show, go ahead, Hoop. You can talk about the rest of what we're doing for the rest of the season.
Yeah, so basically we're going to roll out a discounted price for the NFL, or not NFL because we have college football as well, for the football packages that gets you access all the way through the Super Bowl on our NFL only content. As you can see, rest of season without optimizer, $99, with optimizer, $129, and that is all our NFL content, Showdown, everything that we offer, Discord access. Right there, $99, $129. I mean, it's the best deal by far. I mean, you're not going to find this sort of value anywhere else. So you're looking at NFL content for the rest of November, December, January, half of February. So you're looking at 3 full months of NFL content, including all these other slates too. You got Thanksgiving 3-game slate, which is huge. The Showdown stuff associated with that. They added in like an extra Friday game after Thanksgiving. All that content included. I mean, this is a steal.
Playoffs, the Super Bowl,
Super Bowl, everything. Yeah, I mean,
Morse said it best. That includes Discord. Both the deals, by the way, include Discord. We just don't have Discord with weekly, but I do want to go back to Danny's real quick to clarify, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, and then we'll move on. But if you go with all access monthly, it's going to be $34.50. Use code NBA50. You'll get $69 knocked down in half for your first month. If you use it on the monthly with Optimizer, our Optimizer is Shiptimizer. It'll go down to $49.50 or whatever, and it'll include the Shiptimizer for all the sports we talked about. If you go with football, it's the exact same thing. It's $99 for the rest of the season through Super Bowl, so right to the end of the entire football season, or for $30 more, or basically, what is it? December, January, February. It's basically 3 months, so $10 more a month. You're getting Shiptimizer for NFL and NFL Showdown included as well. So that's the way to go. That's a massive deal. It's huge news for us. We're excited about it. If you have any questions, email us, info@shipitnation.com. But it's straightforward. The codes are there. You can use them right away, starting right now. And that'll be the giveaway. What do you want to give away, Hoop? A rest of season football?
Yeah, rest of season football with Optimizer. Yeah.
All right, so keep those ones coming. And is it the funniest one, or whoever guesses the accurate one?
It's got to be funniest.
It's got to be funny, and like I said, I will tell you the truth in regards to what's going on when I shut down the camera. But one other thing I didn't want to mention, again, we've always been very clear, is like paying for content isn't for everyone. If you're someone that just enjoys coming on and watching these free videos, which all our videos are free, we do no videos behind the paywall. We love and appreciate the YouTube community. If you're somebody that is sticking with just watching these YouTube videos for free, all that we ask is you go to the website, grab a logo, and put it up on DraftKings and FanDuel. Support us that way, because it really does mean a lot to see those SHIPIT Nation logos all over these DraftKings and FanDuel content. So that's the one way you can continue to support us if you're not a member. And again, we appreciate that quite a bit.
Talk about less is more. Very simple instructions. Save. Right-click save, whatever one you like. Upload. Take it to the site you're on. Upload the picture. If you need help, hit us up. We'll guide you through it. #ShipIt. And I have noticed with Title and Marley and Hebrew and all of our team that's shipping. So I changed my damn logo back last night.
Is that the key?
This one's coming through right now. This is the logo. #ShipIt with the black, just like the hat. This logo is the one that's coming through. And my last big shipper was with this logo. So I said, you know what? I love the new ones. I do think the blue pops, and you guys know I love that. But I changed it back last night, getting ready for tonight. No
All right. I might actually, you know what? For Saturdays, I got to stick with Saturday MMA. I can't change. I'll go back. Maybe I'll switch to the hashtag SHIPIT for Sunday.
Yeah, I'm every week change Sunday hoop.
set my reminder to change it back.
Yeah. All right. I think we're good.
I gotta say one more thing. You got this gear up. So. We ordered some mediums, and nobody wears mediums. Like, no dudes that watch this shit wear mediums. So Mrs. Hoop, not a big hoodie person. Like, she doesn't wear hoodies. She sampled out one of these blue mediums. In love. She said her favorite hoodie she's ever worn before. The blue Sin hoodie. So this is the most comfortable thing. She's like, I love this hoodie. She goes, I don't like hoodies. I love this one. So I just went,
and you noted it because when you put it, remember you put it on, tall, slender Hoop over there. He said, "Oh, it's a little bit shorter than the black ones." And nice. It turns out, obviously your wife is shorter than you, so she put it on. It was just right, not too big, not too small, just right. So perfect. All right, let's get back to the stone. Oh, whoops, that's Devontae Smith's birthday. Sorry, guys, I pulled it up again there. If you see on the screen, it is his birthday. But let's go back to the stone.
I might have to steal your Captain Core play from the website. I know it was a little bit of a joke, but man, I'm kind of liking it. I'm going to play into the birthday narrative tonight, I think.
If you got a little bit of muscle to you, make it a schmedium, and the ladies will come crawling. Shout out to New Ones, yeah. So, all right, we got to see. Someone said he puts his chapstick on off camera.
I do that on camera. You guys know that. Where is it? Right here. Ready to roll.
That's a good one.
Ready to roll.
That's a good one.
Him wetting his lips over there, but
someone did get it right too, by the way.
Yeah, it has to be. Here, can I see if I got it right? Who?
All right, you want to just go
give
for
away a second one to someone who got it right because that is good. Yes.
Let's see.
Hook him up.
It's a Danny, right? You go to the restroom.
Yeah, I got it. That's the truth. But Danny just said he's signing up, so still sign up. Yeah, I got to freak it, man. I'll tell you. So hit the gym every morning, hit the sauna, hit the steam room. So I'm trying to rehydrate when I get back from the gym, and I chug a lot of water and the fluids. Title knows what's up. He follows that same strategy there. So I pee a lot, man. So like when the camera goes off, I'm taking a piss. 30 seconds and I'm back in the saddle here. So
you got it right. Loading on chapstick.
Yeah, loading on chapstick and hitting the Celsius.
Oh, that was good. Where's your pen? You usually have a pen in your ear taking notes. Where's the pen?
Pen's right there, ready to roll. Always ready to roll. Yeah.
All right. We talked through it, Michael. I mean, we're all good. These guys, I'm just out on Hurts at captain because I'm going to play to win. But I think other than that, it's pretty obvious. Once I'm out on Hurts, we said it. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. I like Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson be my two favorite Commanders ones. And yeah, that's why that was a hard guess, and why most probably didn't put that up.
For sure, it's 10 seconds.
Well, yeah, I mean, like when you go very often, so obviously I have like a small bladder or something, so there's not a lot of product, so it's quick.
I thought you were going to say a small package.
No. That is definitely the wrong direction. That couldn't be further from the truth.
Remain title. The question does remain.
No time to wash it off. Good thing. This is my office. No one really comes in here. It's a quick in and out. I got a good process.
So keep an eye on Hoop touching his face now, guys. Let's do the Hoop out after this.
I do rinse with water, but I don't touch anything. I just pull it down and it goes, man. It's like you can keep it clean.
All right. Let's move on. Let's go back to the football here. Let's get into the running backs. We talked a lot about quarterbacks at the captain and how they're playing tonight and all of that. Let's go right to running back. And Title, I'll kick it to you. You hit on a little about Brian Robinson earlier, which got me thinking. Obviously, we know the spot for Barkley. I mean, the shell of the stone is up there. It's pretty bad rush defense, right? D+ there. So it looks like a really good spot for him. I think he'll get at least some steam. He's going to keep Hurts in check tonight, too, at captain because of that. But we'll talk flex now, too. But hit us up with the running back talk.
Definitely. So Saquon's obviously the Eagle side. Outside of him, Kenny Gainwell. And again, it is really gross when you're talking value on this slate. 3,200. He's 9% owned in the flex. The thing is on this slate, like, is 7 enough at 3,200? Who's he competing in that range? The defenses, he's competing against Jahan Dotson, Zacchaeus, Luke McCaffrey, Deemy Brown. Some of those guys are a little cheaper, but it is gross any value you go to. Excuse me. So when we get to some of these wide receivers, we're going to mention Zacchaeus, McCaffrey, all these guys. Easily can donut today, but value is very tough on this slate. Gainwell, maybe I'll have 10% because the field's 10%. He is more so hand building. In game scripts, I guess, that they're trailing, even though Saquon, I guess, is a good pass catching back as well. 2-minute drills, and when they want more pass catching, could be when Gainwell's in play. But really, just hoping 3 catches, 30 yards, and 6 points is enough. Hard to get excited there. The more interesting talking point, definitely Commander stuff. I'm going to hope it's Brian Robinson. I'm already leaning Commander side anyway. They don't even have any props up for Austin Eckler in terms of rushing yards or receiving yards, which is a little interesting. Brian Robinson's almost 50 yards on the ground, plus 120 touchdown prop, not bad. We have him under 30% in the flex, and that's because, again, they're both priced $8K. The thing is also with Brian Robinson, though, and Tambo, you made good points on why you did like him a lot. Like, he's going to be a lot lower owned because he's overpriced. He leverages off of Daniel stuff. He can leverage off of, like, some Saquon stuff because you assume if, like, he gets there, that taking the air out of the football. They're converting third downs. Eagles' offense isn't on the field as much. So I'm going to debate him at captain, but I do know I like him in the flex. No doubt about that. You can drop A.J. Brown to Robinson, Devontae to Robinson, Terry to Robinson, and it definitely paints a picture. Now, when you're hand building, just Brad Robinson plays more in close games or when they're ahead. If you think Eagles blow him out or they jump on him early, that's when you'd go more Austin Eckler. I don't see it like that, so I will have a lot less Eckler than Robinson, but I do like Robinson.
Yeah, he's not. This is a joke, Ross. You know this is a joke. Like, Devontae's not getting any. There's too many dudes soaking up the ownership. He'll get some, but it's not like he's going to be over-owned at captain or something or anything that I would consider that. Shout out to Danny. He said, will you guys help me with Shiptimizer? One note is we do have tutorials. They're completely free. So even if you just want to see what Shiptimizer is all about and you're not a member, you're like, would I want that for this deal? You can just go look at it. It's a great tool with a ton of different stuff you can do with it. And then we have a full support team. Newens and our guy Trisket, John, are always in there breaking it down and helping people out with it. So another thing too, and I know we're talking running back, but this just sparked in my mind for the Hurts thing. So I'm going to keep doing it and then I'll flip it to hoop title. Is it's also like how many the Hurts items are going to be preloaded with Luke McCaffrey in them. So it's like, man, I know it's nice.
Like Luke McCaffrey. Like
it's nice to chop 500K though, because it'll still be a nice enough chop, even in a 30 way or something. Like you're fine. I think it's going to be pretty tight up there. If
be careful. I mean, definitely if you just run team, regardless of what you're doing in the captain, I know with Hurts captain, it's going to show up more, but if you just run teams in general, like that guy is going to show up a lot. And he's had over 5 fantasy points this year once, like one time all season over 5. Like
was it last week?
No, it was like week 2 or something. He's had a couple 4.8s, but I definitely use the numbers to my advantage. There's a couple.
Shows how bad this value is. But the thing is, I guess, let's throw this to you guys. We thought value was really bad last week, and we saw that Washington dude or whatever score right away. Davis Allen got 9. So the value got there, but they weren't even on the winner. Obviously, the kickers did good. Yeah. So I guess just talk about that. Like,
yeah, it's a different day and age. We've been talking about it all year with these cheapies. The pricing's so soft where even in years past, if you get those sort of games, like they're a necessity, you need it. Now the pricing is like so soft where these superstars or studs of the slate eventually catch up and you're able to fit them all in because it's just softer pricing. And kind of the same tonight. Like it's like we in years past we'd see 12,000 Jalen Hurts, we'd see 11,600 Saquon Barkley. Everyone's like $1,000 cheaper than they've been in previous years.
It's what too, I think, good point, title, but it's also the other angle of sort of like the value stuff we talk about, I guess, would be everything Hoop said earlier could happen tonight. It could be, 30-14 for the Eagles, and that's a pretty good spank. It's, they're up 6 off the total. Like it's pretty close. It went under like I thought, et cetera, et cetera. But if it's Devontae Smith, who's the captain, with Hurts in the flex, and maybe it's Jake Elliott because down the stretch and at halftime there's a couple kicks in there. And then on the other side, it's a touchdown to Noah Brown and a touchdown to Ertz. Well, there's your Daniels. I'm just making it up as I go. I don't know what exactly fits, but they got to catch balls to play catch up. They're down the whole game. Those can rack up, and a single touchdown to one of those guys more than your Luke McCaffrey gets 4 catches for 30 yards. And is that 7 points enough? Because he's 1,200 or 1,600, whatever. That's the nice price on him and McCaffrey and Brown, but does it even become needed in those builds, even if the script goes the way that we're talking about? So there's more nuance to it, I think. And that's a good point that you brought up. And I think that's why another reason I just feel good about looking for more of these balanced builds and keeping the actual playmakers in the mix. And what if the Commanders do show up and actually put up 20 points or 23 points like their total is? Well, now they're even more involved. So yeah, I feel good about that. It was a good question. Anything else you have to add there? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'm interested to hear you guys' takes on some of these receivers. It is gross outside a couple of these.
Yeah, start us off, Hoop. You can take us there. If you have something else you want to add at running back, go ahead. But it's
yeah, I mean, at running back for me, I didn't talk about too much. Barkley and then Gainwell, and I'm going to be extremely underweight on the it should come to no one's surprise, but the 8.2 for Robinson and 8K for Eckler, like splitting a little bit. Man, that's tough. And then if you plan on playing the expensive captains like the AJ Browns and Saquon and Jalen Hurts, like you got to make cuts somewhere. So I'll be underweight or potentially fading those guys, to be honest with you. It's just it's going to be tough. Wide receiver position, it continues to get tough. Like we like AJ Brown, McLaurin's fine. I really like Devonta Smith, Noah Brown. After that, it's a toss up, and I'm going to have all these guys by necessity. Like you need cheap plays on the slate. McCaffrey at 1,200, it's crazy. He's projecting. Depending on where you look, we have him at 3.7, I believe. Is that in flex we have him at 3.7, yep. Somewhere between 3 and 4, and he's showing up like almost 20% owned. A guy projected at 3 to 4 fantasy points. Like I am going to be very careful with what I do with Luke McCaffrey tonight. Zacchaeus 3K, Dotson 4K, Diami Brown. I think that's like a perfect pivot off of McCaffrey. Like he got a red zone target last week. I think he missed it. Like he didn't bring it in, but like 1,600 for him, fine. Again, I'm going to have all these guys because there's just not a ton of cheap guys on the slate, but I will say, like, I want to be very careful with how I deploy Luke McCaffrey because I went to multiple spots, ran teams, and he is showing up at a very high rate regardless of what you do and who you have in there at captain. So that would be my one talking point or words of caution at wide receiver. Be very careful what you do with Luke McCaffrey.
I like him more in a higher dollar, smaller field because you can get away with it, right? You could get, if it's 7 points is enough there, it's probably not enough in the lottery because you got to have everything go your way. But in the smaller fields and stuff, maybe you can, get away with it. You get a bunch of other ceilings built into your lineup. You always see in the queues and the satellites and stuff that are running on these showdown slates, it's not always the best lineup that wins the lottery. Even though the optimal typically hits, it's not always the case in those smaller fields because certain people are leaning into other angles, more dupes, things like that. So I definitely think you could get away with it there. And I'll look at that when I get to it, whether it's a 5-1, 4-2 build or something, and use him as just a one. Other people are going to do that, but it will work better for me in a higher dollar, smaller field. So I don't have too much else to add. I think Zacchaeus is going to be a guy that's interesting because you're paying up a little bit for probability. I would assume that with McCaffrey, Diami Brown there, it may be a spot where people just don't get to that. They'd rather just drop down a little bit. I don't know. Johnny Wilson caught a touchdown last week, but are they going to keep rolling with that one? I don't know. So I can't really add much title. The thing I could say is most of what I would talk about here is going to flip to what I'm doing at captain. I like, on the other side, McLaurin and Noah Brown, but I actually like them more in the flex. I like Robinson, Daniels, and those 3 Eagles that I talked about. And on the Eagle side, Devontae, Brown, I'm sure I'll get some Dotson in there, but it's not because it's a revenge game. I'm just assuming because with him and Olamide on the other side at 3 and 4K, that will just naturally set you up different than the McCaffrey stuff on the Commander side.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add. You guys broke it down well. What stood out, like comparing Terry McLaurin and Devonta Smith, pretty much same ownership, pretty much same price. Terry 7-yard better receiving prop, plus 120. Devonta Smith plus 160. AJ Brown stands out in a tier of his own at 82.5. Looking into that more, and then just I know ball eye test wise, yeah, Smith can get there for sure, but AJ Brown is by far his number one read so many of the time. So maybe I'll X Devonta Smith captain if I'm trying to narrow it down a little more, and then I can go more Terry with that. Just like you're talking with Hurts, you see a big edge, you're fine taking more risk and volatility and and you're going that way. I know you don't like it.
I will say one thing though, to your point. I just want to get your thought process on it. Is like if the props, I'm with you on all that stuff, but like for Devonta Smith, for example, so he's obviously clear leverage to those other guys. And don't you think there's a higher chance his ownership gets pushed down? Because you know how people use optimizers and set rules and what they're doing. Most people that have like a AJ Brown or a Barkley up top may not want to put that other expensive guy that hurt. Like, for example, when people have an AJ Brown captain, they're not as likely to have Devonta Smith in the flex because they're worried that that's going to eat his lunch a little bit and you're overpaying, or they're going to land more in, it just means more Luke McCaffrey maybe. So maybe give a follow-up on that. That's just how I see it.
No, I do think you're right. I think him and Terry will be similar enough though. Like if I'm going to just get 5% Smith and 5 Terry, why not just go 0 Smith and 10 Terry? I have nothing bad to say.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's what I was wondering. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense now. Okay.
Yeah, and like his game log, and again, I don't love game log watching, especially in Showdown. It's a one game, anything can happen. Jalen Waddle, he came out firing and it stopped, but clearly Smith can get there. But is 20 even enough at captain to win this slate? I don't know personally. So just the props really, it stood out a little bit that they're saying it's Saquon and AJ Brown, and watching the Eagles, it really does feel Saquon does put a dent in Devonta Smith's usage for sure. So the cheap stuff though, like it makes sense why McCaffrey's the most popular down there because he did outsnap. He had 26 snaps. Damien Brown had 10. Zacchaeus had 16. The thing is, at what ownership are these guys going to come in? Is McCaffrey going to be double his own? If so, I'll probably rather take a shot on some of these other guys. If he's going to be like 20% and these other guys are 15, 12, I'd probably prefer McCaffrey because I know he'll be on the field about double the time. Again, I do prefer using McCaffrey in teams that you have like a different captain of sorts. You're leaving 2,000, something like that. But at the end of the day, you have to play some of them because Jahan Dotson, well, he has a 7.5-yard receiving prop. Like it just gets so gross down here. You'll mix and match these bums. My favorite by far, AJ Brown, then Terry, then Noah Brown, and then I think I'm just going to play those Washington, Zacchaeus, Demi Brown, McCaffrey's the world and not really mess with Dotson. I'm going to be underweight on Devonta Smith, and I probably won't have any Wilson. So leaning Commander side, and I hope AJ Brown and Saquon do pretty much everything for the Eagles.
Yeah, I think it's a good breakdown. I think that's kind of the setup for if you're going that route for my side, just so people can know again, clarifies like that's the difference is that I can get AJ Brown way overweight. I can get Devonta Smith overweight, and I can still be overweight on Barkley. And I don't know if I'll be overweight, but I have to assume the Commander side is pretty light as far as ownership goes. So I'm probably, 10% of Robinson, I should be double the field. And, 10% of Terry McLaurin, maybe he comes in at 5% of the captain and I got 10 like that. That alone could set me apart. So yeah, I love that breakdown. Hoop, you got anything else you want to add there?
Just looking at it, I think Devonta's, just to continue on, like Devonta Smith has to get squeezed a little bit. He's not showing big ownership numbers, but like the one thing we know for sure, people like building 4 2s and 3 3s, right? Like people love those sort of builds. So their Eagle spots are going to fill up pretty quick, like with Hurts, Barkley, AJ Brown, kicker, even Dallas Goedert. So I think Smith has a chance to get squeezed like quite a bit here. And I prefer, obviously I like the Eagle side, so it's not like saying anything crazy, but I definitely prefer him over like, McLaurin. I think the ownership could come down a little bit more on Smith. So it's the last thing I wanted to add there at wide receiver. He has to get squeezed a little bit. And it's not like, again, it's not like showing crazy numbers. It's like, in terms of ownership, I think it could be lower than we're even predicting.
Yeah, the other thing, too, is that, again, I just keep leaning more into this. We're going into tight end with Goddard, and we'll talk about Ertz, the Ertz revenge game. It was his birthday last week, too. I always say the birth week doesn't matter, though. If you know anything about birthday narratives, it's the day before or the day of. That's when they come through. But just to note, I can't believe I said that straight face because there's probably people out there that actually believe I believe in this. But just either way, the other thing is if it's a lower scoring game, that definitely can still help Ertz because if Ertz just runs 2 in and it stays lower, it's really good for that. But it also could be a scenario where the earlier conversation around what if is 20 enough for a guy like Devonta Smith? Well, it's twofold. It might be enough if it's a lower scoring game. And also it's going to depend on, I think Nate said in there, what does the value do? If Luke McCaffrey has a big night tonight, a lot of these other captain lineups are in trouble. Hurts, Barkley, AJ Brown, probably down to those three. So that's the argument to be overweight on all three of them. I'm going to be overweight on two of the three, and that solves it. But it's when that value comes through, it makes it really tricky for other guys to lead up into the top. Again, it'll be really good for, like when Title mentioned earlier, if he makes some unique Luke McCaffrey, as the example, lineups where he leaves salary with a different captain and you get the best of both worlds. You get the unique captain and the McCaffrey value comes through. Well, then you're in pretty good spot. I like that call. So certainly good on that one. I mean, that's how I'll have lineups tonight. Obviously setting it up a little bit differently, but Hoop, anything at tight end you want to talk about here with Goddard and Ertz?
Yeah, I mean, both fine plays. I mean, the Ertz value is kind of a necessity at 5,600. Like we don't have a ton of viable cheap plays. He stands out as something solid. 56 would be good in a trailing game script. So for me, building a lot of teams where I think the Eagles get the job done pretty easily. Like Ertz is a great guy to keep in there. So I'll probably be over the field on Ertz. Fine with Goddard at 66. Don't love it, to be honest with you. But I'm good with him. My least favorite, probably Eagles. And I don't think I'm going to be messing with any of these cheap guys. So it's just those two. And I think I actually prefer Ertz over Goddard.
Yeah, and just a couple of things like Goddard's made of glass, Devontae Smith playing with an injury, snap counts and stuff. If you got a single entry and you're only playing one entry, I respect that and think that you should take those things into consideration. It's your money. You got to make a decision based on that. But if you have a portfolio, and I'm not talking about 150 unique lineups to the field that you're playing in, that would be nice, and hopefully one hits and you win the $500K. But you're most likely building 150, 20 max, whatever you're playing. You're building different lineups unique to your set. You're not building in and saying, I love this lineup so much, I'm just going to play it 150 times. 99 of those are going to the pasture even when one hits the top. So it's like you're building for them playing. And when I'm Devontae Smith as my captain, I'm building for him to bust it. If he gets injured on the second play or re-injured, to your point, that's over anyway. Those lineups are dead. We're on to the next one. A guy that was a winner of the Millie Maker on the main site. I brought this up a couple times now, but for everybody out there, it was like 2 weeks ago. He went on, did a little segment on another competitor's show, and I loved it. He said, man, I was walking the dog when 50% Tyreek was useless to me. He said, I had 50% Tyreek. He said, I was dead for the day. I took the dog for a walk. Comes back later in the afternoon, wins the Millie. Like those 50% are dead. That's what the portfolio is all about. That's why that's part of the project, making sure you know how to manage a portfolio. So I think that's kind of key there. But Title, anything you want to add at tight end or any of the stuff I just mentioned?
I think I agree with Hoop. I don't really love Goddard much. You're forced to play him because the next highest price after him is $1,400 more for Austin Eckler, who also isn't great. So you're going to be in that range a bit. I do prefer Noah Brown. I do prefer Ertz. If having to choose, might even prefer the kickers. I think I do. I think my favorite at this position, it's either Ertz or it's Calcaterra. And I'm saying Calcaterra, maybe I'm saying 4 might be enough. And it hasn't all year. It's just value is really tough on the slate. A pivot from McCaffrey for 200 less. He's going to get some ownership, but even Goddard's first game back last week, 42 snaps for Calcaterra. Before that, he was almost 92%, 93 without Goddard. They trust him. Another guy I look for tight end, can he catch the ball, turn upfield, and make a move? This guy actually can, so there's a little bit of upside there. If you're on the field, you're pivot from McCaffrey. That's all I can ask for on this slate. And if you are playing 150 teams, you will definitely see some of the sharpest players out there play John Bates, play Ben Sinnott. The reason? We talked about Demi Brown. We talked about McCaffrey, Zacchaeus, Dotson, Wilson. You can even save more money, go to these guys. They're on the field. Bates, he hardly gets any targets ever. Sinnott, very disappointing rookie, was supposed to have a bigger role. 23 snaps for Bates, 13 for Sinnott, 1 random touchdown. I think it was last year, right? All the backup touchdowns. Or was it 2 years ago in defenses was last year? Whatever it may be, these guys will be on the field. If you're only playing a couple teams, don't play them. The more teams I build, though, that's a solo shipper. Those guys outscore Luke McCaffrey, stuff like that.
Yeah, one good note there, too, that I took away and just tried and apply it right away was the Calcaterra stuff. It's $200 less than Luke McCaffrey.
Yep. Right.
And it's a spot. It's actually on the offense. You'd probably prefer throwing the ball too. It's not nothing against Jaden Daniels. He's been incredible. Rookie of the year pace. I'm talking about just on the other side. It's another guy that can connect with Hurts. So even I'm not in on them, but even in your Hurts captain lineups, throw Calcaterra in there instead of McCaffrey and pay up at a different spot or something. I think that's certainly an option, whether you think it's real or like it or love it or not. It's kind of just a way to set up for the slate to get a little bit different. All right, Hoop, any kickers and Ds or anything else you want to talk about there before we get to titles thoughts? Then we'll go to FanDuel.
Really like the kickers, obviously. I mean, I typically do, but man, they just continue to get the job done, and people are on there bitching on. That's my favorite part. I swear, like over making any money on the slate, my favorite part when these kickers go off is going on Twitter or X and watching these guys fucking cry like little babies about it. Like just bitching, oh, the kickers, they got there again. He scored 15 fantasy points and now I'm done. And 40% of the field, so stupid for playing them. It's the same shit. I just love those tears on Twitter and X. It's so funny. Love it. So let's continue on with that trend. Kickers get the job done and these little guys bitch on Twitter about it. It's my favorite part of the showdown slates. I'll have a lot of kickers, defense, whatever happens for me.
All right, title. Anything you want to add on to that? I thought that was a pretty good impression by Hoop, by the way.
Isn't it true though? It's facts, man. It is facts.
Almost as good as winning $1 million and then people telling you how bad that team was, right? Hoop.
Yeah. That's that second to that for sure.
Yeah, I mean you got to play the kickers indeed, just with the nature of salary being tough. Do prefer kickers if I had to choose, and I definitely prefer Zane Gonzalez over Jake Elliott if having to choose, just because any 4th and 2 for the Eagles is tush push city or something. They're more willing to go for it. But we're going to head over to FanDuel, and Zane Gonzalez is definitely a talking point over there. Not sure what FanDuel is doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they thought he was hurt. They thought it was going to be a different kicker, I guess. Yeah. So I know what they're doing, but it was wrong.
5K kicker, baby.
Yes, yeah. Gary's coming in with the stats today. Love to see it. It says, I heard someone that say that after week 10 in division games, 63% of the games go under. And this is long-term statistics. These are real sample sizes. I like those. So shout out to Scary.
I'm celebrating. I'm going off camera and jumping for joy when these kickers go off. I'm not crying.
Hoop started the double kicker, man. That used to be the way. You just go to Hoop stuff, look at it, and then say, okay, he's already got a kicker in there. Let me just add the one from the other side and fill out the last 2 spots. That's the way.
But it's and the crazy thing is, it's paid off like way more than all these like other sort of builds that people trying to get creative with. Like the double kicker has paid off a ton, and it does every season multiple times. And I just thinking about these guys that cry about, just so excited. So
are you excited what title said though? Because you can take us into the FanDuel thoughts with that. Zane is at 5K.
Yeah, I mean, I went through and nothing else really stands out on FanDuel. I mean, Jaden Daniels and Hurts are within 500. You got Saquon Barkley right there with those guys. AJ Brown's 13K. McLaurin's 12.5. Devonta Smith is 11.5. Nothing is very exciting. It's very similar. Then you have all those cheap guys. I'd say Ertz at 8K stands out as a little bit too cheap. But yeah, I got a kicker at 5K in Zane Gonzalez. And, typically the kickers on FanDuel are priced more to like the mid tier. Now it's all the way at the bottom, minimum price on FanDuel at 5K. So I'm very excited about that. And again, I can't wait for this guy to go off. And then people are going to bitch about it. Oh, the 5K kicker on FanDuel got 16 points and he's optimal tonight. It's so pathetic and so sad. Everyone that played him is an idiot. That's what's going to happen. And I'm going to be excited because I'm going to win and he's going to be on my fucking team.
That's the nice call out. The funny part is it's almost as if you're not allowed to play him, right? People act like they can't no matter what. But I think he's the FanDuel Luke McCaffrey is really what he is, right? He's the guy that everyone's going to go to. It's the certain value play that you just plug in and make everything else work. So again, that's the FanDuel is the worst, but Hoop crushes it. That's my line. But man, Hurts in the MVP. And then Zane.
Very popular. I mean, that's going to be a massive number of teams. Massive number of teams will have that. On
FanDuel tonight, it's going to be the biggest chop ever. So that bit when we get to cut you out there is going to be nice when we put it with like a $1,200 screenshot.
And please do. I'll be so excited. Hey, this could be one of those nights where you ship and lose money on FanDuel. And guess what? As long as Zane Gonzalez is on that team, I'll be super excited. I'm willing to lose money to watch these guys cry about Zane Gonzalez.
You will be able to victory lap that you made more on min cashes than most because he got you in there when you locked him in and you were over the top on Zane Gonzalez. So you will still have a victory lap there, even with the $1,263.33 screenshot when the chop happens. But anything
I'm posting that shit all over Twitter and X too.
Please
can't wait, man. Can't wait.
That's the one. The follow-up screenshot. Title's got the 45K shipper. Hoop's got the $1,200 FanDuel ship out of the gates from tonight's show. Title, anything you saw with the prices outside of Zane or anything you want to add on there?
Defenses look to be solid leverage. I do think grouping, the more you talked about it, grouping away Hurts, making a rule max one if you have Hurts captain or Daniels captain, not to go Zane Gonzalez, because even Saquon, I think he's a good pivot at MVP. He's more expensive than both of them. We talked about the bonuses. It's not like he's not going to be played, but what, 13% maybe versus 40% plus? I think that's leverage. You obviously can go the AJ Brown of the world. If you go beat Brian Robinson, Devontae, or Terry, who obviously we know in their best games can be on the winner, you can solo that way and play Zane Gonzalez. So again, if you don't play Hurts or Daniels, I think you can play any MVP and be good. If you do go Hurts and Daniels, maybe I probably wouldn't play Zane Gonzalez. And then maybe if you play both sides, like McCaffrey, way more popular on DK. He's a pivot on FanDuel from Zane Gonzalez. He's going to be a lot lower owned. Kenny Gainwell, if the game blows out, that's how you can win whatever 200K or whatever first is. Deanie Brown, Dotson. So many are going to go Zane Gonzalez and then spend up because he's so cheap in this price, which forces these other cheap guys, 6.5, 7K, 7.5, to be a lot lower owned and go that way. So it's really clear. If you want to win with a lot less people, it's clear how to build it on FanDuel.
Yeah, first on FanDuel is $1,263, so you're not winning 200K. But I love the Luke McCaffrey one specifically. He's only $1,000 more over there. He's as close to minimum as he can be, 1,000 off, and it's just an automatic way. If you think he's coming through, that would be the site to go and play it on and do. But the one thing I'm noticing, and we got the stone up, didn't hit the full likes on this show, but you guys know what to do. Make sure you hit that like button. Helps out the Mayo Media Network, who helps us out. We do appreciate it. But just to say it, this is the numbers showing here. It's so low on AJ Brown. And what did we just talk about last show is that since they got the 100-yard bonus and everything else, yeah, you miss out on the full point PPR, but it's big time leverage to go off of Hurts and Barkley. I get on DraftKings why people are saying, well, but I don't want to get to Devontae or Goddard because I need to save that for my Hurts and Barkley, way more likely to happen, etc. But they like AJ Brown, so why not do it over on FanDuel?
Yeah, look what happened last slate, Ram slate. It was Puka. We talked about it on the show. Go one of the wide receivers, and we knew they'd be popular on DK. People avoid it on FanDuel, and it hit on the last slate. It was Puka you needed up top.
Yeah, I love that. Is this a real stat? I don't give a shit about the sample size because we're not giving it to him for that. But I don't remember that game. That's crazy.
No, 2 games. He's saying last year because I looked at AJ Brown.
There must have been some high-scoring games.
Numbers. I thought he was saying for 1 game against them. I was going to say, did you? Okay, we're almost done the show anyway, but this is a funny one from X this week. Did you guys see the guy that posted the stat about was it your boy Goff or yeah, it was Goff. So Hoop, you might have seen it. It's like he's got 7 games, he said, where he's thrown 4 or more interceptions and came back and won the game. Yeah. And the answer is actually he's only done it 1 time. But Aaron Rodgers ran with the stat on the McAfee show as if it was real. And that the guy went back on his X account and was like, see, this is all Fugazi. You can type whatever you want and people will it. And
that is great. Yeah, I did see it. So that was fake.
Yeah, it was fake.
Man, it's a tough run for your boy title. I mean, it's been a tough stretch. And then
that's the new boy right there, baby. And
he's an asshole. I told you my Giannis story, right? When we were at the Pistons game.
He's not an asshole.
Yes, he is. No, he is an asshole.
JT Jr.
Any professional athlete that refuses to acknowledge a child is a piece of shit.
I agree.
That is your. We were sitting right there. Literally, he was 8 feet away from me. Or sitting.
He wasn't playing, right?
Right. He was playing. It was a blowout. It was the end of the game. He didn't play. His brother was in the fucking game. That's how much they're up by. His brother was in the game playing. His ass is sitting back on the bench. Every single kid in the area, Giannis, the kid has a sign. He's got the jersey right behind him, front of him, side to him. Everyone's yelling his name. Didn't acknowledge. I was like, all right, well, he's locked in the game. Oh, it's a blowout. It's like, the game's still going on. Maybe after the game, he'll at least wave to this kid or the kids around him. As soon as the game's over, takes off, never acknowledges any of the kids the entire time. So fuck him.
Fair enough.
It's like different. It's way different to me. The JT story you have is good because he's right there, and it's
Right
golf,
there.
and there's plenty of time. It was like a practice round. Like, dude, just come over and sign the autograph. But Giannis is a global NBA superstar. It's gonna be tough to hit every kid. I'm sure he hits.
You just gotta acknowledge it though. Like to me as a kid, I mean, we all have been to sporting events. Like as a kid, like those are my fondest memories. Like getting guys autographs, like at Tiger Stadium before the game. Calling out a player's name and he turns and waves to you. It's just a tiny little thing that literally could change a kid's life. That would be a memory those kids would have forever. Like that kid, if Giannis is his favorite player in the NBA, probably the one opportunity he gets to go see him, Giannis turns around and waves to him, that kid is never forgetting that. And it's the easiest thing for these athletes to do. It just kills me when they don't do it. And I get like you're going to, you have 80 different games and playoffs and it's a lot, but wave. Turn and wave. Like that's all it takes, man. That's all it takes.
It's free to be nice. It's free to smile. It's free to treat others with respect. I agree. And it is, I get it. They're athletes. They got 100 things going on. Did you ever see the movie Big Daddy before with Adam Sandler? The classic?
Oh, yeah.
He takes the kid.
I don't actually saw it. No, you don't watch any. You don't watch any movies.
I don't, but pissing on the side of the that's a good one.
But what I was going to say is Hoop should be the guy with Giannis. Remember when he takes him to get the Halloween candy and dude tries to shrug him off? And then the next scene is he's coming in the back door, jacking buddy up, and he's giving him watches and candy and everything. He's like, next time, answer your door and you give that kid some candy. Have a good night. He sends him back. That's exactly what you got to do to Giannis. You got to dial his ass in and give him that pep talk right there.
Yeah, I get this. Like, don't put these guys on a pedestal. But as a kid, man, like they're loving sports. Like you can't stop it. It's not like if my son loves, whoever, whatever athlete it is. My son loves Patrick Mahomes. I can't say, oh, you don't need to put him up there. Like that's just natural. These kids watch him, see him on commercials, see him on TV all the time. It's like you can't stop sports. And they play sports.
They want to beat him. Like, exactly. He is right. Like. Especially when you get older, you should realize these guys aren't.
Putting them on a pedestal for though. Like I think what this guy's saying is probably right, but if he's talking about financial and money and fame and all that stuff, okay. But you can't take away. Title, you had to see the interview last year with Giannis when they were coming down on him hard. He gave an excellent speech about a mindset and a hardworking element, things that I'm passionate about, and saying like you got to put you're going to say that to me. Like I'm at this position because I grinded my whole life for this. If you want to get on the case of the fame and the money stuff, sure. But when it's an athlete that's worked their ass off to get somewhere, there's definitely life lessons that I would want my kids to take away from people that are successful in what they're doing. It doesn't mean they have to be a basketball superstar, but putting in the work, no days off, not just no days off, but I say like not just no shortcuts, if you will. Things like putting back the shopping cart is the age-old one, like little things like that. You should take those life lessons and run with them. They can help you get ahead in a lot of different ways and just be a good person. There's lots of things that you could take away. But Hoop told us already, Giannis is a bad person, so don't take those lessons away.
Yeah, you find the right role models. There's good ones out there. There's definitely like, I don't know AI really as a person, but I wouldn't want my kid saying, this guy doesn't believe in practice, so I don't need to practice. Like, no, there's stuff like that. I think anytime Giannis is on the mic, he is as authentic as it gets, and he says a lot of cool stuff. But what Hoop says, I totally agree with that as well. I would hope if I was in a situation like that, I would acknowledge them as much as I can. But the thing is, he lives his life. Anyone that ever sees him is yelling his name 24/7.
Oh, yeah.
And I will never, I can't relate. So that's all I got.
Yeah. No,
all right. Any final thoughts, Title, that you got? We're going to pick a winner, Hoopster. Maybe while Title's rounding it out, you can go back and find your winner. But Title, do you got any final thoughts on this slate at all? Anything else you want to bring up?
No, I think we covered a lot of ways. The hurt stuff, very important. Like if you want to take an aggressive approach like Tambo, and that allows you to get pretty much overweight on all the other stuff, and value is really tough. Like Luke McCaffrey, and that pretty much seems it. So I'll be hoping kickers, D's, Zacchaeus, maybe of the worlds that there's pivots down there.
I'm saving my McCaffrey shares for Sunday, baby. Everybody else is too, but I'll get the McCaffrey action on Sunday when the 49ers play. Hoop, what do you got, man? You got a winner over there? Who got you?
I'm looking, man. All right, here's a good one. I'm going to pick this one in honor of you guys because I keep getting shit for this, and rightfully so. I deserve all the shit I've gotten for this one, but it ties two things together. Practicing your shoey on his lawnmower.
Scooter knew.
That's a good one. I'll take my medicine on that one.
Scooter, hit us up, info@ShipIt Nation. We'll get you taken care of. I believe because you already have an account set up, we'll get it just added in so that it takes care of you on a credit. So you will still be taken care of even as a member.
Or we'll get him a ticket for tonight or something in lieu of it.
Yeah, we'll look it up. Send us a message to info@ShipIt Nation. Hoop, any final thoughts from you? We got the promos going on. Obviously, you talked about it. NBA 50. You can get 50% off your first month of all access. So basically $35 or $50. It's just, you want to round it up. That's the two options. If you need Shiptimizer, you want to try it out, now's the time to do it for $50, less than $50, 35 if you go without. Anything else you want to add there, Hoop?
Yeah, so that's where the all access gets you everything on the site, all the sports we cover, all the main sports on DraftKings, and then new pricing, obviously, for the rest of the season. NFL $99 will get you through the Super Bowl, all main slates, showdown slates, and then with the optimizer, it's $129. So I mean, it's by far the best deal in the industry. Some of these places are charging that per month. So cancel that and come over here, and we'll get you covered.
I'm with it. I love this promos. We love our guy Title getting the job done last night. Many of the members, the Discord, I will say too, especially NBA is the new late night one. Like, man, you can be in there till it's 2 a.m. my time. I know that I'm on a different zone than everybody, but it's still 1 a.m. Eastern time. Like, people are up late in that chat, really grinding it out to the last thing. Then our guy BG Little Neck's out first thing in the morning with a full slate plan to start the day to get your mind cooking. Like, it's just always something going on. So lots of good things going on. We appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to smash that like on the way out. That's going to do it for this one. For Hoop, for Title, and for myself, ToeTagginTambo. Let's ship it!